Hey,
I always
welcome to
get to.
the stream show with Strick and Brant. Strick, hey, Brant, what were you doing, man? Were you not watching the countdown?
I'm watching the comments. I'm trying to interact with everybody, and I always forget to look over to this monitor to see the countdown. I've got all of the chat over here on this monitor, and I'm doing all the work. What are you talking about?
I know it, right? Listen, I absolutely love the way the show intros, even when we miss the time. But this is the stream
We're
show with the
live.
stream guys, Strick and Brant. Thank you so very much for being a part of the show today and being on. I want to catch up on these comments really quick, Brent, before we actually go any further,
Show 'em up.
because we have, of course, Rich. We talked about Rich. He said it's 71 in Texas where he is today. Like, really?
Yeah, and they had like no power last week because of the snow. So just crazy weather.
So there's Eric. Shouts out to you, Eric. We got Kirk. So Jerry here is y'all need to look into this Jerry guy, because we're going to have him on the show coming up really, really soon, talk about a product that he has, and it's going to be a real interesting conversation. Dana's here. What's up, man? Thanks for hanging out with us today. And David is talking to Kirk. Michelle is talking to Rich. And somebody else says, hey, champion. I know exactly who says, hey, champion. That's none other than Chris Gloss. Thank you for hanging out with us. And my man,
much.
Bradley.
Bradley teaches. We have Tim. Tim's coming from PA. So, it's been really cool for this show. We've had people from Australia. We've had people from South Korea. We got some people over in London. So this has been really cool.
So I want to do this real quick, Brant. I want to start our show with this because we have a great opportunity to work with Ecamm. And thanks to Katie from Ecamm, and what she's put together has been utterly amazing. Like, it's really amazing, the run of shows that she has. Do you mind us going through the run of shows really quick to start the show? We'll start this way and end this way as well, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
All right, so let's go. I'm putting you on the spot.
Oh, this is putting me on the spot. Okay, I'm ready for this.
You think so? Okay, here we go.
I think so. Hey, everybody. I just see black. There we
Yeah,
go.
this is better.
Everybody, the podcast hour, Mondays, 11 a.m. Eastern. These are all shows on the Ecamm Network. Watch Bradley Teaches Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then we have the showrunner with Stephanie Liu, Wednesdays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. And go live now, Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. So we are a network of shows. And the stream show, of course. You're watching us right now, 7 p.m. Eastern. So we are part of the Ecamm Network, and all this content that's coming out to everybody is free. Go follow Ecamm. I put in our link here. If you want to try Ecamm, you can hit that link there and try Ecamm for free.
Hey, Brant, I want to tell you, man, you did an awesome job with that.
Well, I can read. It's pretty good.
There you go. So we started talking about our show, the stream show with the stream guys, Strick and Brant. And then you came to me and said, well, Strick, I'm really working on this particular guest.
Yeah, and thanks to Katie for making this happen. She connected us. When I first started looking back into streaming and getting back into production and, what was happening on YouTube, I found this next guest, and I thought his production, the quality level was amazing, but it was all done with iOS devices, only on iPad, only on iPhones. And at the time, I was thinking, could I just dump everything and just carry around an iPad and an iPhone? So that inspired me to do Vlogmas. When I did Vlogmas, I did it all from my iPhone with LumaFusion. And so I want to announce our guest today is Henny Tha Bizness. And I'm going to read from his website because there's so much that he's got going on. Henny is an award-winning multi-platinum recording producer, songwriter, professor, and YouTuber. Henny has produced numerous of hit records for various recording artists, including Drake, Chris Brown, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, 50 Cent, Black Eyed Peas, Young Jeezy, Brandy, Ice Cube, and many others. He's also a graduate from Morehouse College. He's a professor of his alma mater, where he teaches music production, online branding, and music technology. Henny has developed a strong following online, guiding individuals on how to use iOS devices in a professional manner via his YouTube channel. So you kind of have the sound, right?
The business.
I got it, brother. You ready?
There you go. Let's go.
The business.
Dude, thank you for sending me that. None other than Henny the Business right here on the stream show. As you can tell, I haven't lost my excitement for having an opportunity to have you here with us. This is a big deal, man.
Hey, I thank you guys for having me, for sure. Yeah, this is a pleasure.
So we have a lot to talk about. The first thing I want to talk about, this is the first question, and then I'm going to turn it over to Brant because I'm definitely being a fanboy, but Brant is kind of like, he's the real fanboy. Like he's done a better job of concealing it, Henny. You know what I'm saying? He's not showing it, but he's definitely there. It's all good. So the first question is, how did you get into music production? Like we went down the list of all the people, and of course everybody is familiar with that sound. Like you listen, I know that sound and all the songs that I've heard that you produce. How did you actually get started?
Oh man, it was in ninth grade, 10th grade. A cousin of mine, he was in Seattle with me where I was raised, and he started showing me this keyboard. Him and my older brother about the same age, and they're coming back home from college, showing me exactly what could be done on this keyboard. He had a little keyboard. He said, if you wanted to start playing piano, every other white key, if you do that, you can create what's called a chord. And I'm like 14, 15 years old, and I wasn't really sure exactly what I wanted to do musically. I just knew I wanted to be in music. And so I started learning the piano that way and trying to find how I could play songs on the radio for the girls in junior high. So that's kind of where it started at.
I get it.
He showed me a piece of tech, and I knew that was the keyboard I had to have, and it was an Ensoniq ASR 10. And I pleaded with my father for at least 2 years because it was very expensive at the time to pick one of those up, and he found one used when I was a senior in high school. And it was from that moment that I started using that one device as my go-to beat making machine. And I saw all my favorite producers using it, from Timbaland to Dr. Dre to all those at the time. And so I went and put everything that I could into it as I went to college. And I just started making beats for all the guys in the dorm, and I set up my little dorm as a studio, and I started charging $25 an hour, and I just built a business. And from there, by the time I got out of college, I was already signed with a production deal. So that's kind of how it went. Yeah.
Man, that's incredible. Hey, Brant, I'm going to shut up right now. It's on you, brother.
Well, I just want to say awesome, because he's obviously was monetizing from day one, charging $25 an hour, not waiting to be chosen, just picked himself. So at what point did you start using iOS devices specifically to do your production?
Yeah. So it was about 2015. I told it a few times about how I did a new publishing deal, and with any publishing deal, if you have it contractually right for you, you'll probably end up with a nice chunk of change. And that was my second publishing deal as a professional music producer. So I really kitted out my studio over between 2013 and 2015 with every piece of big tech that I possibly could dream of. All the hardware, all the big big monitors to the microphones, everything. And I became so obsessed with the gear that I wasn't necessarily creating like I wanted to, and I became extremely frustrated because I had everything that I possibly could think of, and it was actually slowing me down. And I looked on my couch over there in the studio in my house, and I said, I wonder what I could do with this iPad. It was an iPad Air 2, and I think I must have read an article or something, and I picked it back up, and I just tried to see exactly what I could do with this iPad in 2015. And it was, one of those light moments that just popped in my head, like, wow, maybe if I use, Dropbox or something like that, I can get my sounds in here. There's this app called Beatmaker 2. Let me try this. There's this app called Cubasis. Oh, this app called Audio Share. And I started to realize that all of these apps could start to be intertwined together. And I was like, maybe I can start to do this. and I just shut my whole studio down for months, and I just focused on that with some headphones and a keyboard like this, which is X Key Air, right? It's a little 37 or 25 key keyboard that you could take anywhere. And I was obsessed with just trying to do it mobily and then show exactly what I could do in the studio. And when I got to the studio, people would laugh at me, and I'd have these moments where I'd be in with other big producers and songwriters, and they were like, yo, where's all your gear? And I just pull up with this little iPad and, a little baby interface, and it changed everything. I was determined to show people that I can make, professional quality music like I had been using, fully kitted out studio. And so it took me some years, but by the time, 2016, 2017 rolled around, I was like, I'm not getting the word out fast enough. And I started watching, people like Casey Neistat, like everybody else, vlogging and doing other things, and actually what it meant to be on YouTube full time. And I wasn't sure if that was the thing, but I wanted to show people exactly what it was that I was doing. So I started this little series called Adventures in Beat Making. It was 60 seconds. I tried to make sure it was for Instagram, because Instagram was only 60 seconds at the time. And I was like, all right, boom. If I do this once a week, showing people that I could balance my life with my family and my kids, making beats wherever I'm at, maybe people will get the message that it's possible. And that's kind of what started it all. And so, yeah. Now I'm a few years in, and I haven't really looked back.
Last I looked, you're 93,000 subscribers? Is that right?
90, what is it? 98.5. I'm getting close.
Oh, 98. Oh,
sir.
right. So
Yeah.
almost 100K.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I mean,
so
it kind of, for me too, I spent so many years bogged down with equipment. I ran my own production company with my wife, and having the best cameras and the best microphones, and I just didn't like really creating anymore. Is that kind of what the iPad did for you? It just kind of let you be creative, gave you some freedom. Maybe like, it's like I don't know, just color outside the outside the numbers.
I think it was the same thing of when I was 18 years old, and I wanted that ASR 10 so bad, because I was just like, it was one device that in my mind, I thought could do it all. And, when I started acquiring so much equipment and all these things, and trying to be so tedious about the sounds and the synths and the mixes and the plugins, and it just became overwhelming. And when I reached in, I looked at the iPad, I was like, this is one device that maybe could do it all again. And that was why I went to it. And, there's so many different apps and so many different ways that you can use it. It's a blank slate, literally, until you tell it what to do. And, once I started figuring out exactly all the capabilities of it, I have to show as many people as I can. And yeah, that's kind of what it was, seeing if I could actually do it. It was the challenge.
So with the success that you're having right now, is there like a defining moment for you in showing people that they could do it? I mean, you've been doing this for a while now. Was there a point that you said, man, people are really catching on to this?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It was a couple years back, and I took a position to be the chief marketing officer for BeatStars for a little bit. And, being a music producer for 20 years, I thought it was a great opportunity. But at the same time, I wasn't in the corporate arena for really any part of my real career. And so at that same moment, a guy named Jonathan Morrison with TLD Today, huge channel on YouTube for tech, and he's very into music like I am. He hit me on Twitter or one of those and asked, he's like, I heard you were the guy to talk to if you want to start making music on the iPad. And so we started building a relationship, and he's like, I want you to come out. This new iPad Pro just came out, and I want to show people all that it can do. So can you fly out and let's do it? So I was at a crossroads between trying to help run BeatStars for a second and do this YouTube. And, I came to a realization that I had to stick with the YouTube thing more than I wanted to do the BeatStars executive position. And after doing that video with Jonathan Morrison and his followers and his reach, and showing exactly showing people all around the world what can be done, one, it boosted my channel, but it's also like getting that first placement, when you're in music and you finally, almost start to feel like you're doing something for real. And I was like, okay, now I'm getting somewhere, because I have had tremendous success with building relationships in the music industry. But, you know, it was just as much of a challenge to start building great relationships with those in the tech and YouTube, you know, streaming and all of what we're doing right now industry.
Right.
And, you know, you can't necessarily think that just because you're successful one way that you can't just, you know, you can sit on your butt and not do anything. So I was working it like I was, you know, a kid who never had any type of success before. And now being able to start building relationships with, you know, people like you guys, or people, you know, that are in the tech industry and in the streaming world, it's just as exciting to me now as it was as I was starting to get my first placements back in early 2000s. So, yeah, it's fun. It's very fun.
That's awesome. Explain to me now. I know, and I'll let you speak on it. I've seen some of your videos. Now, you work with a group of kids, and you guys made an app, didn't you? A music app?
Yeah. So me and a business partner of mine, Kennard Garrett, you know, he's the one who brought me into Morehouse College. He's already been a professor there for years, and he runs the Ray Charles Performing Arts Center there. And so, you know, every semester we started out as a workshop, but we also do semester course, you know, class stuff on online branding, you know, music industry, music performance, music production. And we started building a relationship with Matthew Fesher from Audio Kit Pro. And he was just like, you know, maybe we could think about brainstorming an idea, building an app based off of what you got going on and what you're doing over here at Morehouse College. And so, you know, we just kind of brainstormed and came up with what would be the app that we wanted to bring to, one, the community, and two, would be something that we could teach the students there. So, you know, in our workshop class that we had 2019, we started working with our students and building this app that emulated, you know, the Fender Rhodes of the 70s. And so we wanted to make sure that everything from the way that we dialed in and mic'd, you know, all the sounds, to the way we showed the students how to process audio and how to do signal processing and, you know, all of the things, and then start learning coding and start learning, you know, the Audio Kit Pro, you know, developer kit and all of those things. We just wanted to make sure that it was possible for them to see that, you know, we can create this app, and then too, it can go out to the world. And so it took a little bit of time with COVID, but, you know, we got it out October of last year, and it went straight up to #1. So that was a huge blessing in the music iPad charts. And man, it was just one of those things to where, you know, we're able to give back to our school with some of the proceeds that come from, you know, building the app, as well as showing the students what's going on with, you know, audio production, signal processing, and coding, and then giving something to the community that we can all use on our phones and on our iPads. So it's been a blessing to be able to work with others who are just as passionate in iOS development. It's been fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, I love it all the way around. I'm a person that love working with young people. That's part of my past, you know, working in music and also getting out there in the community. So hearing all of this, especially with you having an opportunity to do that at Morehouse, man, that is like cool.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to ask you, because with your success, I want to know what you're doing next, so Brant and I could be a part of it. Because man, it's kind of like you got the golden touch right now. Like whatever you decide you wanted to do, you're producing music. Guess what? You can work with some of the biggest stars in music. Your YouTube channel is, man, people love it. Like you're always giving great information, and I got to figure out how I can do the Strick name and hear the signature thing that you have. I absolutely love that. I appreciate you sending me this so I can use it. I'm gonna use it a little more while I have you on the show. What do you think, to be honest with you, some of the things that you do, like it has to be more than just, hey, I know this technology. Mindset wise, how do you continue to create new things and also get to a level of success in it more than other people?
Wow. I don't, the hard thing about, you know, starting something, you know, new or something that's unknown is really just sticking with it. And that's why, like, kind of like on one of my last videos that I put up on my channel, you know, I told, you know, a lot of people that I gave myself at least 10 years to do YouTube, because a lot of people want to blow up so fast. And, you know, I'm a person who loves to find solutions for myself and then show others those solutions that I did. And just be humble all the way around with it, because the person that you could be talking to today could be the hottest thing tomorrow, or you could be blowing up, and then somebody's going to need your help, and that person might turn out to be somebody who's going to give you some help when you need it. And so I've seen all of that in my career, and for me, just what's next and how do I keep going is to just always just think about what God has for me is going to be for me. So if I worry too much about what others are doing, if I worry too much about how do I compete with these people who are doing amazing things in all these realms, how do I balance my life, what does it all mean? For me, it's just finding the balance and just giving myself enough time to be patient. And you have to do things for your whole life and your surroundings to make those things work. You might not be able, if you want to do things like YouTube full time, if you want to go into music production or do things that, you might not feel like you're going to be able to afford, then you're going to have to figure out how is it that how can I afford these things, or what things can I not afford, or other things, because it's not just about doing it, but it's about the support system, whether it's your finances or your family or your friends, to be able to help you get to that next level. So I look at things now and I'm like, it's got to be about what we're doing now. It's got to be more about live streaming, live connecting, giving people the real you, because that's what, there's no perfection to this. Things can happen, things could go back crazy, whatever you want to say. But at the end of it all, you just push through. And, the more that we're doing virtual, the more that we're doing, things where we're somewhat still isolated, you got to think this is changing the world for the better when it comes to technology and how we connect with each other this way. And so this is the phase that I'm really excited about. And that's why, that's the only thing that I'm waiting for with iOS, like we were talking about earlier, is how can we get streaming? How can we get platforms like Ecamm on the iPad? That's literally the only thing that I have my Mac for these days, is to stream and do virtual connection. So that's where I'm at.
You heard it here. So we got the twins. If they're watching at Ecamm, they built the software. Henny would like to see an iPad version, so he can go live from his iPad and not have to get on his Mac. So I think what you're doing is amazing. I have two young kids. Well, young. I have a 17-year-old and a 11-year-old, and they're both into music. And it was, I bought the 11-year-old the new low end iPad, was like $300. But we got Koala. He's making his own beats. He's tried to send me music for openers for the show, and then my daughter's doing the same thing. Recording and on the Mac, and she got an iPad Air, and some of this technology, iPads, it is a lot of money, but it's still a lot more approachable than buying a real piano or a keyboard or a saxophone.
Oh yes.
And they can kind of play and try different things. And I just think it's kind of leveled the playing field.
And I do too, like you, I got two children, my daughter's 7 and my son's 11, and I've been trying to, get them into technology and at least allow them to experiment, like you said, and figure out what it is that they're into. My son's really into gaming, and my daughter's still trying to figure out whether she likes Roblox or watching me make beats. She likes to see it all. I know she's a creative at heart as well. But for me, a lot of what I've started, kind of my journey in YouTube and streaming and all of this is to show to know that it can be done, so that I can teach my children from a real perspective on how to really make this into a business. And if they can start to do it by the time, they graduate high school and things like that, they'll have so much more opportunity to do what they want without having to think about what the real world's going to hit them with, if they start to develop their business acumen and start to really figure out the things that they love. Because right now we're in a time where anybody, if you give them enough time, they can do whatever they want to do, and there's so much opportunity and there's so much education there, hey, we might as well just put as much information in front of them and just give them the opportunities and guide them as much as possible. So I'm right there with you.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of speechless. We just had Henny the Business.
Well, with all of this, Henny, to be honest with you, Brent and I have been screaming some of the things that you said today, the time that it takes for you to be a creator. Be patient with it. Work with you have. We always say, hey, your best camera is the camera that you have right now. Get ready and go. Get out there. How you made a quick mention of streaming. Where do you see the future? I know you said I would love to see it on my iPad, but do you see us like the world just doing more? Do you see the explosion of streaming, like live streaming?
Yes, I mean, I don't take it, I don't take it lightly when I'm saying like that is the future between, between doing things live, but then also, artificial intelligence and the way that we can start to see how that affects the way that we're doing things. So whether it's, me wanting to have Ecamm Live on an iPad is more so because I want to use professional cameras and professional mics and stuff to be able to connect all of this to a device that can be mobile, that can have LTE, that can, do things for me, that can transition and do things maybe with, swipes and gestures and things without having to have maybe a Stream Deck or anything else. The biggest thing for it all from a non-technical perspective is the fact that a lot of people, a lot of kids they're sitting there and they're watching people do the most random things, whether it's, cooking or, making beats or, playing games, or like people want to understand the long form process just as much as they want to understand the short, perfect edited process of getting things together. And so the more that these computers, these iPads, these iOS devices can, make things easier for us to do some of this, it's going to be even easier for people to do it, go live, connect with people, and not have to wait to edit and drop something and then wait for comments and do it that way. And it's been going for a while, but I think now it's just exploded, and I talked about this a little bit on my last video, but, when we look at the music industry only making, a little over $20 billion, the entire music industry, but then you have the streaming industry that's already making over $30 billion a year, right? And we're seeing the explosion of not just music, but music and entertainment and sports and anything that can be streamed, gaming, it's the new way. So, yeah, that's why.
Dude,
I'm
love that.
all the way there.
Hey, Brent, we started talking about music and using music with your streams. I know you had a question to Henny about that as well.
Yeah, so, I'm a big evangelist for gaming, so I understand that, your son wanting to get into gaming. I think it's a huge market as well. A lot of the gamers are playing music during their streams, and there's been all these DMCA strikes and everything. So one YouTuber, Harris Heller, I think Roberto Blake has done it. They're all went out and they're making these, lo-fi hip hop type channels where it's free. You can stream it. You can, they're either producing themselves or buying it or whatever. And they say they're making royalties even though it's free. Is that a future you see happening on the internet right now?
Yeah, I think that, definitely, you start to see companies like MusicBed or some of these others like, there's so many that are providing music, sound effects, little loops, whatever you need to have a subscription. Yeah, anything that you're doing that needs background music, right? I think, we're starting to see success from those companies, and now individuals are starting to say, hey, I have a catalog of music, or I have friends or people who are, musically inclined. I can get with them. We can create some music. We can create some ideas. We can have a whole catalog for stuff that we can provide at maybe even a lower cost to, some of these up and coming YouTubers and streamers to be able to have music that's not going to have those strikes against them. And, I think it makes great sense, for somebody who maybe has a big catalog, or, somebody who isn't getting the placements or the things that they really want out of, just a normal way of doing the music business. Maybe you could collect, 50 or to 100 tracks, put it on some type of server platform, maybe using something like Squarespace to build your membership to be able to provide your custom music for a subscription, and you probably make a lot just money. And not only that, you can still register that with your performing rights organizations and still start to see those royalties that come in just from all of those people who are tuning in, watching that content. And so I mean, that's a whole new model, right? It's a whole new other way for you to make passive income once you set that business up.
There we go. DJ, you're the music guy. You said you had a lot of friends with sitting on tracks, right? I mean, I think there's a lot of people sitting on stuff waiting to be chosen. That's my big thing, is choose yourself, right? I mean, I came from TV. You had to let somebody give you a TV show. Now you can just make your own TV show. You can go live. You can produce music. You can do whatever.
Exactly.
And let the crowd, let
So
the market decide.
We know I personally know a lot of producers, and they're sitting on track. So this is something that Brent and I have been talking about for a while. Like, why not get into some of that as an offer? Like, we're doing coaching. We're helping people. So if someone's streaming and they need music, hey, this is another place you can come for music. We'll help you with that as well. It's something that we've been talking about to do it. That being said, I do want to ask you a couple of questions that are coming through the comments. And with that, I got to shout out a couple of guys. Alicia Way is actually watching. He's in the comments. He's reached out to you.
Yes,
He's
sir.
one of our guys. We love him to death. This overlay that you see right now comes from him.
Yeah.
He's a big time giver to the community. I know he's reaching out to you to be. And Kirk Nugent is another guy that's been reaching out that I just want to shout these guys out so they know, hey, I told Henny about you. So if they reach out to you, you know that Strick and Brant, know those folks too. Okay.
And a lot of music people in our group. Licio does music. He does great music.
So one, I don't have the name right here, but the question is, Henny, talking about getting the gear to make it more accessible, can you update your kit on your site to share what you're using now? So they're going right at you like, Kenny, hey, we want to know what you're using right now. Tell us the secrets to them sounds.
I can definitely, I definitely need to update my kit. That's one thing that, yes, I will definitely get on and make sure that I have that update. But, for the most part, I am still using for music production my iPad Pro 2020 11-inch. It's a 1 terabyte with the LTE version. I still love my X-Key Air keyboards. And, for monitoring, it goes in between, interfaces. I like the Audient Evo 4, the Audient Evo 8. I love a lot of Shure products, Apogee products, the Apogee mic. It really depends, but right now I'm using the Shure. This whole setup for me is the Shure SM7B connected to my Sony. This is a Sony A7C with the 20 millimeter 1.8 lens going into my M1 Mac Mini. And I have my iPad Pro. Let me see if I can see all of this. All right.
Yeah, man. Hold on, Henny. Let me be sure I get it, man. Listen, I'm going crazy right now. I absolutely love it. This is a 4-camera shot on the stream show.
So, I have my top-down shot right here. This is my Sony ZV-1 camera. It's probably a little bit, I didn't get it right for the show, but I also have my iPad connected via HDMI, and I do that because if you want to show people how to make music, or you're in the process of making music while you're live, you're going to introduce a lot of latency if you have it just connected to your Mac or PC or whatever. So I run that to an audio interface, and then I run that audio back into my my Mac. It gets kind of funny. I have a Stream Deck right here, but I also have my right here. This is kind of like a BTS little camera over here to the bottom right, and that is my iPhone 12 mini. Gives me a little wide shot, and of course, my front shot here is with the Sony. So all of that being said, this is kind of how I get down right now. And for music production, I am
The business.
pretty simple. Right on.
Hey, listen, I'm sorry, man. Listen, not only am I going crazy, the comments went crazy. Like, people in the comments are just going crazy on the setup, what you're using. Doc did a whole Doc Rock just did a whole video on the ZV-1, the Sony, using it as a overhead camera, and you're using it as it's just
amazing. Yeah.
Hey, I know Henny's costing me some money because I walked by that table in Home Depot about
Home
20
Depot?
times.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, that'd be a great stream desk. And you're like, the next day you saw your video. I was like, man, I got to go get that now. But I got to get the 72-inch and get a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I have
You know.
I have the bigger one over there for my production setup. If I would have known that I wanted to do it like this, with all the way that I've like, the last thing I did pick up that I didn't talk about is this DBX 286S. This is a channel strip. Let's see if I can show that real quick.
Show it to us, Henny. We want to see it, man.
Let's see. I-12 Viddy. Nope, that wasn't the right one. Sorry, y'all. Hold on. There we go.
That's all right.
Yeah.
There we go.
DBX. Sorry, there we go.
Gotcha.
Channel strip. And I use that to be able to really get really good audio going directly into my microphone to the camera. And I love having a setup like this, not to go super nerdy, but I can do my, a lot of people want a streaming setup and a YouTube setup, and I like to have it as one single thing. So regardless if I'm doing, one-on-one conferences, virtual learning, whatever, YouTube videos, it's all going to have that similar look. And I wanted a similar sound. So I'm running the DBX 286S so that I can, get my compression the way I want, my gain the way I want. It also has an expander and a gate to make sure that, if I'm in a loud environment, I can really compress those sounds, as well as a little equalization and a de-hissing, de-esser. So I have all of that going, and that's going into the Shure. So yeah, that's a little bit of what I got going on right now.
That's crazy.
Henny, man, I'm going crazy over here, man.
Yeah.
DJ,
With the
you gotta
tech
pick
talk.
up your game.
With the tech
DJ, you
talk.
gotta pick it up.
Yeah.
Hey, Henny, let me ask you this question, man. Where you from? Where'd you go to high school at?
I'm raised in the Pacific Northwest. I grew up in a city called Federal Way. That's right in between Tacoma, Washington, and Seattle. And I went to school at Decatur High School. So, yeah, definitely, grew up in Washington State. My parents are still there, but me and my brothers, we live in Atlanta. So
That's
yeah.
what's up. So your brothers are there in Atlanta with you now, and y'all have made it your home. Like, that's a nice spot to be. Brant and I both have decided that Atlanta would be our spot as we started to grow the stream, stream show. That there's a ton of streamers there, whether it's through gaming or people that are trying to do their own TV shows. So that's like a real hot
Tyler
spot
Perry.
for people.
Yeah,
Yep.
Tyler Perry just built, the next Hollywood there with all the studios,
Exactly.
sets.
Yeah. It's 10 minutes away.
Atlanta's,
Yeah.
There you go. Atlanta's on the come up. I think we have a lot of followers and a lot of people. We actually have a couple clients we're working with from Atlanta. So Atlanta's the place. The South, I'm telling you, me and DJ decided we're like the SEC of streaming, right? Everyone in the
Yeah,
South.
there you go. There you go.
So I'm sorry, man. I've been like the biggest fanboy today, and then you went through all the tech stuff. You showed the 4 cameras that you have. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. Brent shouts me out saying I need to step my game up. I'm gonna just have to figure out which card I'm gonna use to just buy some new stuff. I gotta put a compressor and a mic stuff under my desk. Like, you can't have it on the desk. Henny's got it under the desk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got to have it wrapped real close so that, if you need to change that real fast, you're good. Just make sure you take a picture of it so you remember the settings just in case the kids want to play around. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So everybody now, like, you just made our whole community spend more money. Like, I don't know who you should. Are you doing Amazon Live at all? Like, do you have the affiliate?
I do have affiliate links to certain, most of my videos if I'm talking about products. And that's the biggest thing about the journey is, you can still learn on the job and you can still, figure out how to get it better. So, from, when I talk about products, when I talk about things, I really only want to talk about things that's truly helping me out because, I get approached by so many brands wanting me to speak on certain stuff, but I'm like, hey, like, you can't be afraid to give up the secret sauce ever because nobody's going to ever do it like you. So just know that, you can give them every single thing that you're doing. And let, you can email somebody your business drop and it doesn't matter, like,
time out.
The business.
At the end of the day,
Still can't do it like
don't-
any.
everybody has their own unique way of expression. So
Right.
don't worry so much about that, and worry more so about just the consistency of your brand that you're building. So
Well,
That's
I can
awesome.
say from the ECAM community, there's this whole gang of guys called the SM7B guys, and I know they're excited tonight too.
right.
I got called out on the backstage. We're in the green room. Everybody's like, "Well, you just have the MV7." Well, I'm sorry.
See, the only reason I switched my MV7 out to the SM7B again is so I can only have one mic. Because before I just had a, more of a shotgun mic down here for my YouTube
Right.
videos, and I was just using the MV7 for connecting, just to my computer. But just wanting to be more minimal, I decided to try to make it just the one microphone system, and my son got the benefits of
There you
giving
go.
him that MV7. So yeah, he's in there having a blast. Definitely.
Henny, I was talking to Rob. He was doing one of the reviews. He was saying, hey, in your thumbnail, only do 3 words. And so I've been trying to do that, and it's the hardest thing in the world to do, to make a thumbnail with just 3 words. But, when you see all these thumbnails going by and someone that has something really clean with 3 words,
Yeah.
it catches your eye. So I know it works, but it's really, really hard.
Yeah, it can get very, trying to master, what's going on as far as thumbnails, captions, keywords, hashtags. Trying to figure it all out is always, you always feel like you're one step behind. But I think go with what works for you. I don't know. That's just been my philosophy, because if you start, of course we want to do as well as we possibly can. And if you're not, if your things are too busy, maybe other people will point them out. But, I think, if you have a clean thumbnail, if you have a thumbnail with the 3 words or whatever, hey, I think any video that we all do can possibly go viral. So you never know. It's just all about the way it hits at the right time.
Henny, I'm waiting on a viral video, brother, but we're working hard. That being said, you said something that has been repeated from the next guest that we have is do what works for you. She says this
Yes.
all the time. So I want to bring her on right now to kind of help our conversation and to see her setup, her production setup, because she does streaming as well, and she also does a lot of recorded videos. So Diana Gladney is here with us. Diana, how are you doing? Did you listen? I did that. That's my fault. So I got you now. I muted you. That's my fault. That's my fault. There you go. There you go. And you got the sound effects. Let me do this.
The business.
I have to do this as much as I can while I have
While
him
you got
on the
him
show.
Right.
I'm gonna have. I told him, I would not use it after this, so I'm using it as much as I
The
can
business.
while I can. But hey, I actually introduced you because Henny said something that you say all the time, and we talk about a lot of products, and you have shared over the years tons of products that people could use. And one of the things you always say is it depends on your use case for products. And for him to echo something like that you say all the time, that's got to be cool for you to be like, I tell people that every day.
100%. Because it's just like for people to know, even on any level of whatever success may mean to you, finding that right path for you. It's a lot of paths that are carved out, and sometimes making that one switch in whatever it is that you're using can help make carving your path easier, and that also makes it easier for other people to follow if it fits that use case. So it's just, if we all are just copying one another back to back, then that may not be helpful, because you may come up with something or create something. It's like constraints are just containers. So if whatever's fitting within your specific container may be exactly what somebody else needs. So I love it. I love it. I love it.
And of course, you are part of the SN7B club, so I appreciate you having
100%.
you on the show.
You
That being
know?
said, can we go
Right.
through your setup?
Yeah, you're looking at it. Mine is not as beautiful with the multiple camera angles and things like that. I try to keep a very simple setup so that it's easy to just kick off content. And so what you're looking at now is my most recent updated setup using the Shure SM7B. I do use the Rodecaster Pro. You're looking at, I know Henny hit on the Sony camera, so hashtag Team Sony. the Sony A6400 with the 35 millimeter f1.8 lens. And if that sounds foreign to anyone, then don't worry about it. It just lets you know that I get a nice dreamy, blurry background, and it's sharp and crystal clear.
You do have a dreamy
Sonys
look today. You do have a dreamy look today.
Why, thank you. So, but yeah, it's a pretty simple setup, and I like what I call like the one button press system because it was something that I just created again out of my constraints when I used to work at the bank, where I'm going to work for multiple hours, and sometimes you may work overtime or whatever the situation is. Okay, when I come home, I want to be able to turn on my setup and everything kind of activates so that it makes it easy and efficient to just create content. And even though like I'm kind of building up a second desk setup with an overhead cam and stuff like that and just kind of maximizing the space a little bit better, this setup works and it's done very well for me. So yeah, no matter what mic or camera I may switch out, this has pretty much been that setup.
So when you come into your room, do you just clap your hand? And all the lights and everything come on.
Clap on. Clap
exactly.
on.
I wish it was that. No, it's a flick with the toe. It's a little bit
Okay,
a little bit simpler.
toe
Flick with the toe.
and the lights.
Toe flick.
Yeah.
Toe flick.
So there you go. So what you do is you just get a little IKEA thing that they have there, the surge protector. And so you just centralize everything. So the most common things is you're going to use your computer, your audio interface or whatever that may be, my camera and things like that, because the Sony just stays here. Then you just turn all those things on and then you're ready to go. And so the lights are also controlled with a switch as well, or you can have it where they come on with the setup. But some people get a little bit more like, hey, such and such, whatever the digital assistant name is. I'm not going to call it because all of our houses probably go, haywire. But it's like, yeah, I just keep it real simple. One button click and everything comes on.
That's
I found
cool.
setting up a studio is, 100% get you more productive because if you're gonna set it up, you gotta tear it down, you gotta use the living room, wait till the kids go to bed, whatever. I've done all that, and now that I have it all set up, of course now my kids are using it, right? I got my son trying to game, my daughter's trying to make a singing career.
There you go.
Like, hey, can I go use the studio? I'm like, you can't say no. I said,
Exactly.
put everything back.
See,
So I have to end up every time I use it now, I have to rewire everything, but it's all good.
Hey, man, if you had a Sony camera, Brant, then you could just set that, that M1, M2, memory recall. So your daughter has the audio and everything locked in for her voice. Get her a preset on the Rodecaster Pro. I'm just finding solutions for you, brother.
I'm gonna be the Panasonic boy because I've used my Panasonics for probably 10 years and they've made me a lot of money.
Right.
And they're free
that's real.
right now because I already owned them.
Exactly.
But yeah, I love the Sony. I think, we're even trying to reach out to, we are trying to help people that are trying to get started. And I like the new Sony ZV-1 because it's
it was on the desk already.
There you go.
It was here. It was out. I just figured. No.
No, and I think it's great. I think that actually, I'm probably looking at getting FX9. That's a little step up from everything else, but I might be doing some more field production. But I think the Sony ZV-1, I'm excited to try one because it's kind of, you have to worry about it getting a lens. It's all the autofocus, showing your product and all that good stuff. I think it's great.
Yeah,
hey,
100%.
Henny, you were giving us a list of all the stuff that you use, and I just went out of my mind, like, trying to calculate all this stuff that you have. But you mentioned your camera and your lens. Can you tell me what that is again?
Yeah, I'm using the Sony A7C. It's the full frame Sony, the latest full frame camera from Sony. That it's like it has the same kind of body as what Diana has. Was it 6600, 6400?
Yeah.
But I want to get as wide shot as possible, so I have the 20 millimeter lens and it's a 1.8 lens, so it's kind of gives me a little bit of blurry background. But the other thing that I did was I put on what's called a Black Pro mist filter, and so if you can look at the lights behind me.
Hold on, Henny, man. Nobody's doing filters in the studios, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
Black Pro mist.
So the biggest thing is trying to get that 3D pop of your the subject from the frame. So I added the Black Pro Mist filter so that the haziness behind me was just a little bit more dreamy. I'm into the dreamy look as well.
Man,
And
I'm going
making sure
to wait. I gotta get to B&H and Amazon to get this Black Pro Mist, man. Like what? Nobody told me, Diana. You didn't tell me about a Black
You ain't
Pro
asked.
Mist.
You ain't asked. You didn't ask. You
man.
didn't
Yeah,
ask.
so if
Man.
If you got the lights in the background and you want them to kind of look a little bit more dreamy, a little bit more fuzzy, you put that Black Pro Mist in the front of your lens, depending on the strength of it. I have about that 1/4. They come in 1/4, 1/8, whatever. But just a little bit to soften the image up. Yeah.
There's about 300 people watching right now or out on Amazon buying the Black
Amazon.
Pro Mist.
Listen, Brent, man, we
Alicia
have
called it the Black Panther filter.
Yeah.
Man, that's
So-
I'm learning something. I'm cool. That's why we do this stream show. They
That's
help
why we do
people
the
out.
show. Yeah.
Yeah,
go.
that Black Pro Mist filter. It's like that's something. It's like it's a absolute go to when I would go travel and do production work and things like that. But you notice it's like there's a such thing as like that reality TV show kind of look, filmic kind of a look. But when you want to blend what those are, you are doing things like going to 24 frames per second, maybe 30. Either is fine, but you're making those subtle changes that eventually add up over time. So now that y'all have been exposed to the Black Pro Mist filter, now you can look at what the difference is from the highlight roll off or just like the brighter parts of your skin and how it's not as sharp. It may be a little bit more subtle. And then you look at how that affects your bokeh or the background blur and how that impacts that. And so you get your setup nice and sweet. I'm just saying. You say I didn't tell you. I mean, you ain't asked. I'm just trying to get y'all to live right out here in these streets.
So you guys know why I personally listen to Diana for hours and hours and hours, because if you listen long enough, she'll tell you. But she was holding off on that. See, this is what I'm going to do right now. Listen, I'm going
I've
to.
never heard her mention the Black Pro Mist. Look,
Listen, I'm about to do
because I
this.
never have.
I got Henny on. Diana's talking. Listen, I'm just going to increase my LUT on my Ecamm right now, change my colors just so I can have something different for a little while. It's not going to look good, but I'm changing my LUT inside of Ecamm right now.
Okay.
I don't have a Black Pro Mist filter, but this LUT works a little bit.
Use a LUT. I think one of the things I want everybody to understand too is finding a look that's like a director, or cinematographer in film is you have to have your look. Find your look. It might be dreamy. It might be sharp. It might be 60 frames. It might be 24 frames. It could be close, wide. It doesn't matter. Find what looks good for you, and it have a signature. And I think that's one thing that attracted me so much to your production, Henny, is you have a specific signature. Your stuff all looks, pretty close to the same, like other than some like behind the scenes stuff you're doing with your kids and stuff, but it all looks, let's go over one of the things, like Diana, if you could go over yours, and Henny too, is your lighting. Sure. So your lighting, both your lighting is on point. So what lights are you using? Diana?
So I'm using a Viltrox LED setup that comes with a remote. So that way, when you do sit down, it's like, well, you want to look at the time of day that you're recording. I have a blackout curtain filter for right here just to make sure that you aren't getting any additional light that I can't control. And so it just comes with a little remote, nothing spectacular. So that way, if I want to turn the light off in front of me, I can. Or if I want to adjust that and turn the light off to the side of me, that gives a little bit of extra of a brighter kind of look, I can. As far as the lights behind me, it's very simple, something that anybody can access from IKEA that comes with a little controller. Mount this on your desk or your wall, and so that way I can adjust the color to whatever it is that I specifically want. I don't do anything past that really LED wise, but it does kind of give you a different vibe depending on what you're going for. And so I just kind of really settled on kind of like that pinkish purplish kind of a look. And that's pretty much it. So nothing spectacular, just very simple.
And Henny, how about you?
So I am, what is this light called? Sorry, I'm looking it up on Amazon. I forgot what the name of it is. Damn, just that fast. You just have that brain fart.
Yeah.
But it's Falcon Eyes. There you go. It's a Falcon Eyes. Let's see.
There you go.
This is an 18 TD. Where's my iPhone 12?
The business.
NDI activation. Strick.
And so I only have it at about, still hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
We got you.
No. Okay, cool. So I only have it at about 15-20% brightness,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's kind of like how I have this entire setup. I have some, some studio acoustic panels behind my setup in my loft here, but and I use that just as, some people will have the light casted off to a left side or a right side, but I thought for me it just works to have it going straight down. It's kind of just a high key light, and then in the back I'm using this one of these Aperture, I think they're BC70s. It's almost like a one of their smaller aperture lights that can be plugged in as basically like a main light source in a lamp, and I just have that connected through an app through, I think it's called Citus Link or something like that, from my phone. And then right over here, my wife did the H in fairy lights. So we bought a string of fairy lights. She took push pins, turned it into an H, and if you can really see, there's a little string.
The cost of
end
fairy
the H.
lights just went up. No, never.
Well, fairy lights is only $10. So I mean, fairy lights
when
can
they
do a lot.
$20 tomorrow,
Yeah.
when they $20 tomorrow,
they-
you both and saw what Henny did. So it's gonna be a wrap.
and it's just another LED underneath the couch. Just kind of
Right.
give that a little bit of.
That's what those
feel, so.
fairy lights right there. But when you have the depth of field, just for those, since y'all say I don't tell you nothing, those are fairy lights also. Same thing.
Yes.
You get them at your local craft store, Walmart, wherever.
Dan, and we know what those lights are back there. We already know
I'm
that.
just
We were
saying.
talking about
You
the
just-
Black Panther mist that we didn't know.
Black Panther mist.
Oh man.
So
Black Panther. Yes.
yeah. I done changed the name and everything. People
He
gonna be
said,
looking
"We
for
know
that. I can't
about
find
the
it.
fairy lights.
So Henny, man, listen, we could go for a while. We love talking
Yeah.
tech. We love talking cameras. It is one of the things in our community that we want to help people level up all the time. And you have shared a wealth of information today. It's kind of like, man, it's like, Henny, you haven't been with us, but you're with us with all of this tech talk. So we appreciate your time today. And I'm going to be quiet now because, Brent should really be ending this up for us today, since he's the one that said, we got to have Henny on our show.
I will say, I just put Henny's YouTube channel and his website in the comments. Check out his stuff. I think it's amazing what he's doing. I don't make music. I used to sing in high school. I'd love to be able to make music. And from watching the stuff you do, I'm like, I think I could do it. I mean, I watched one video you did where you had they sent you a package, like you had rice and you were making shakers. It was some challenge. Somebody sent. That was awesome.
Yep.
Recording your own beats
Thank
and doing all that stuff. So I already got my son. We downloaded Koala from watching your
There
video.
you
So
go.
he's
Yeah,
making
Koala,
his own
Koala
beats.
sampler is an amazing sampler. Yeah.
So if you're into music, you need to check out Henny's channel, but also production. I know he's a big. I am the Apple fanboy, but I'm telling you, Henny is the Apple fanboy, right?
Yes,
so
sir,
when
I
it's
am.
out
Yep.
new, if I want to see what's the new, the review from the new Tim Cook video or anything, I go straight to Henny. So he's usually watching it live.
Yeah.
So,
And I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Yep.
Hey, listen, it's been a great show, Brant. Listen, you did an awesome job getting Henny to come through the show, man.
Can you play it one more time?
You did a great.
Can you
Oh yeah,
play it
yeah.
You go one more time.
The business.
There we go. So I just appreciate Henny coming on. I appreciate Diana coming on because Diana's a wealth of knowledge as well. So I did get a little slam. I'm not the SM7B guy, but maybe we'll update.
You
later.
got a sure mic, man. You're
It's
you're
a
in the
sure.
family. You're in
I
the
know.
family. It's okay. It's okay. Hey, let me do this.
Feeling left out. No, I'm just kidding. Gotcha.
Hey, for all details on what we're doing, you can also go to thestreamshow.live to see Brent and I and get all details from my website of what we're doing. We have tons of things that we're trying to do to help streamers succeed. So learn more about us there on the website. And Clubhouse, we'll see you in just a few minutes. We're going to wrap up the show now, and we'll do question and answer over there. So see you there at 7:30 tonight. So just a couple of minutes away, 15, I guess.
Right.
All right,
Hey,
guys.
thank you, Strick, for all you do.
No problem, Brant.